Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my one shoulder top. And I really love the one shoulder top because I designed it so that it has more coverage on one side and less coverage on the other side. So you can decide whether you want to wear it one way or the other based on your preference. And I did make a printable PDF pattern which will be available in the description below. So here we have the materials that we need to make this top. We have our serger, elastic application serger foot. I use clear elastic to make majority of my swimwear, fabric scissors, fabric weights, the pattern, matching thread, a rotary cutter, and then also we have our fabric here. I am going to be using two different fabrics today because I want to make this top reversible, but you can just use one if you'd like. You'll also need some pins. And a seam ripper is great if you have one. If not, you could always use your fabric scissors. So the first thing that we need to do is cut out two pieces of our front pattern, two pieces of our back pattern. And if you do intend on making this reversible or using two fabrics, then you want to make sure that you cut out one of each fabric for each pattern piece. For example, a pink and a green for the front, and a pink and a green for the back. Just remember when you're cutting out your fabric that you want the greatest stretch of the fabric to go from side to side, and you want right sides facing because that's how we are going to sew it together. Alright, so here I am just inverting the fabric. I'm just going to put the color that was on the bottom on the top, and that is just so that whenever I go to sew everything, it is lined up exactly how I want it to be with right sides facing together. And I'll show you what I mean by that whenever I finish cutting everything. Keep in mind that you don't have to worry about this if you are making your top all the same color. This is just if you're making your top reversible. We just finished cutting out our pieces. We have our two front pieces and our two back pieces. I know that I'm saying front and back, but like I mentioned before, you can wear it either way. The front portion just has a little bit more coverage than the back. So I just want to show you really quickly why I inverted the fabrics when I was cutting them out. Keep in mind that when I was laying the fabrics down, I always kept them right sides facing. So whenever I cut these out, they'll be ready to sew right away. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what I mean by that. Say that we serge these together and we serge these together. When we lay them one on top of the other, the pink will be on the outside for both. And that's what you want to keep in mind, because making a one shoulder top, it can be really easy to mix up what fabric is going where. So that's just a little trick to help me keep organized whenever I am cutting out my pieces reversible for this one shoulder top. And I made a little diagram here for you just to show you which edges you're going to be serging together with the elastic attached. So anywhere you see a dotted line is where you're going to serge. So you're going to leave these sides open. Just to show you on the actual pattern pieces here, leave this side open, and this side open, but serge along these edges here with elastic attached, and we're going to do that separately for both pieces. Alright, so we already have our elastic attached to our elastic application serger foot on our serger. And if you want to learn how to do that, or if you've never done it before, I do have a demonstration in my elastic video. So I will link that in the description below. And I'm going to start serging these edges together. Remember, sometimes I forget to mention, you can always use pins if you need them to pin the sides together. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and choose an unnoticeable place to place our hole in order to turn this project right side out when we are finished. And I like to choose the bottom edge here, so I'm just going to create a hole in the seam using my fabric scissors You can use a seam ripper if you have one, but I'm just going to go ahead and use these scissors. I just finished making my hole in one of these pieces, and the next thing that we're going to do is use the sewing machine to connect these pieces. So the next thing that we need to do is turn both of our pieces right side out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. In order to connect these edges here, we are going to place one on top of the other. Take one of the sides that we didn't sew, and we are just going to place one inside of the other. Doesn't matter which side goes in which, but place one inside of the other. So, going to put it in just like this. You see how the green is touching the green and the pink is touching the pink? That's how you know that you have everything aligned correctly, and you are also going to double check that whenever you turn this inside out. So go ahead and pin that down. This is what it's going to look like on both sides. And then you're going to go in through this hole that you created earlier, and you're just going to grab onto this side here, right over the pin, and make sure that you have a really good grip on this, because you're actually going to pull the pin out and pull these pieces out through this hole, making sure to keep them lined up just the way that they were. So you can go ahead and adjust it. And the way that you double check that you have everything lined up is that you want the same color on one side. So we have the two greens here and then the two pinks here. That's how we know that we have it lined up correctly. And so you line everything up just like that. One is inside of the other. And then we're going to just pin this down again. Like so. And then we're going to sew about a 1/2 inch from this edge here, just a straight line. We're going to make sure to backstitch at the beginning and at the end here. So just sew along here a straight stitch. And now I'm just going to cut off this excess fabric here. Now we can go ahead and pull this out. And as you can see, we have that nice clean edge. And now we are just going to do the same thing for all of the other sides. So remember, we're going to place one inside of the other. And then pin it down. Use your hole to get a good grip. Right on top of the pin. Pull the pin out and pull everything outside of the hole. Make sure nothing is twisted. Sometimes you might need to pull it out a little bit just to match it up, but make sure nothing is twisted. And double check again that the pink is with the pink and the green is with the pink, and that's how you know that everything is lined up good. And then use your pin to pin it down. And sew 1/2 inch, making sure to back stitch back and forth a few times at the beginning and at the end. Alright, just completed these two, and now we just have to do this last side here. So the last thing that we would need to do is just secure this hole here. You could either hand sew it and leave the edges completely seamless here, or you can stitch right on top of it with a matching thread. Alright, that is the finished one shoulder top. I hope that you love it just as much as I do. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you later.